Oh, that was good timing.
Nice. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Three Idiots Talk Aquariums podcast. Hope you all are having a lovely time doing your whatever you're doing your water changes or whatever. But yeah, what have you guys been up to? Have you had any interesting fish-related stuff happening to you recently?
Interesting fish-related stuffs. That's what we're talking about, isn't it?
Fish tanks.
Yeah, fishy stuff.
Sick.
No, I haven't had much go on actually, to be honest. I'm trying to think, and I've just minimised the screen, so I can't even find you guys right now because I've got too many tabs over there. I found you. That was magic. I was like, holy shit, where's all these? Which one is this? Which one is StreamYard?
Oh, you're such a boomer.
I'm trying to think if I haven't actually had anything go on with the fish room. I've just been chilling. It's been getting colder, so I've been monitoring the fish room. Power bills never went down.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Anyway,
life hack.
Yeah. Just have exponentially high power bills all year round. It works. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you won't even notice when it goes back up.
I got a new algae scraper off Temu and some nets. Does that count?
Oh, nice. What's the algae scraper? Is it someone's old credit card?
No, it's this terrible stick thing with like the thinnest razor you've ever seen on the end of it. That it does work better than me trying to immerse myself in this tank here and like go dunking for apples, but it's still not great. I've been trying to find something to scrape the bottom portion of this, because I can't reach it.
Have you tried a bristle nose?
I've got bristle nose in there.
I'm out of ideas.
Get one of them flipper ones. They're supposed to be good.
Flipper ones?
With the magnet with the razor on the end.
But they cost more than $1.99, so Ryan's not going to pay that much because of the tight ass.
I did buy the
intake screens.
I did buy the Temu version of that for $4, and that it only had plastic razors on it, and the magnet was not strong enough to hold it on the glass.
Funny that.
That'll be real thick glass on that tank, eh?
Yeah, it is thick glass. That's the problem.
Flippers are wicked good, but wicked expensive.
I might have to look at that then, because I'm sick of having this tank, but it's dirty.
No, get rid of it.
That's a good call. Just get rid of it.
Just get a new one. Get a new one that's clean, maybe. That's what I got to do.
Yeah, happy to do that. Just like brand new tank each week. Put the fish back in there. When it gets dirty again, just buy a brand new tank and swap it out.
Too easy.
How the other half live.
Yeah,
exactly.
Why didn't I think of that before?
Because you're just not the smart one.
We have Helen in the chat, so good morning, Helen. Love to have you with us. Everybody else, you're more than welcome to drop your comments and stuff in the chat.
I think it's only Helen that's here so far, isn't it?
No, we've got 6 people watching.
Oh yeah, I'm not logged in, so I can't tell.
Any comments in, but there's 6 other assorted people staying quiet.
Assorted people like assorted guppies.
Exactly.
Intentional people though.
And they're welcome to stay quiet. It's up to them. But if you want to have any input, Ryan would love it. Otherwise, he'll probably cry. So, yeah. But what have you been up to, Cam? Any exciting things going on, fish related or not, for you?
I put 12 different species of fish to bed the other day, so hopefully they spawn.
What? Rattle off some names for me.
Nigel, Trev, Wendy, Susan.
Man, is it exhausting being that funny, Ryan?
That's good even for you. I'm happy with that. Cardinals, glow lights, lemon tetras, longfin black widows, albino cherry barbs, minnows, celestial pearl danios, ember tetras, flame tetras, and a couple others.
Nice.
Yeah.
So just like a whole bunch of different tetras in that.
Yeah, some different tetras and some zebradanios. Did I say that? Zebradanios, pildanios,
No
just
idea.
stuff that I've got hanging around still. So, been successful with about half of them in the past. So if we can get another half past, that'll be cool this time around as well. So we'll just see how we go.
Have
That makes
you
sense.
have you managed to spawn the cardinals before or neons here, and
No.
raise them?
No, not yet. I'm sure that I had cardinal eggs at some stage, but they didn't hatch. So we'll see how we go.
But they need uber soft water, don't they? And soft and acidic water.
Yeah, not as much as it used to be, but still pretty soft. All things compared to everything else.
You should just tell them that the parameters don't matter. See, they need to catch up on what everyone reckons, you know?
Yeah, everyone else is all good with it, so why aren't you guys?
Exactly. Just
Yeah.
tell them to toughen up.
Yeah, just get the job done.
Yeah, but no, that sounds good. Is there any in particular out of that group that you're like really looking forward to breeding more than the rest, or is it all kind of like whatever happens happens?
Any of the
Or is there
ones
some
that
that's like I really want this to breed really
there's
bad?
very much a case of whatever happens. But any of the ones that I've tried before and haven't succeeded in, I want to obviously have a spawn to say that I have. And then the flip of that, the ones that I have managed to succeed with, I want them to go again just to say that it wasn't a fluke and the method that I used did work, if that makes sense.
Do you have like a list where you like check off all the ones that you've bred, or is it just like a like as a bit of a challenge for yourself, or is it a bit of a like just going through the motions kind of situation?
The list is small enough for it to be in my head at the moment, and also
Fair
have
enough.
all the fish hanging around the shop that have spawned.
Oh yeah.
I guess
You've started selling fish now that you've been breeding, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess like doing the daily videos is like a permanent list of where things have spawned and when they've spawned, but having to find all of them would be a bit of a job. But yeah, it's all been video recorded, video logged, whatever the words it is I'm trying to find throughout the process and journey as well.
Vlogged.
Oh, there we go. I would have thought there's
That's
an
the
actual
one.
word for it. That's the one,
man.
yeah. So yeah.
But
I guess
no,
the
nice.
the dates and stuff don't really matter too much anyway, do they? I mean, when they're big enough, they're sold.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm basically doing a breeding log series on YouTube as well. So there's 3 or 4 videos in that so they'll have dates of when we attempted and when we hatched and that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Nice. Well,
Yep.
sounds fun. We do have a little question here from Helen for you, who
Hiya.
wants to know how your diamond tank is doing.
Amazingly, I love it. I love it.
There's certainly
Bit
something.
early in the morning.
Yes.
there was a bit much.
Tell us about the diamond tank.
Uh,
What is it? I
so
assume
it's
it's not a
Rio.
tank full of diamonds. It's going to
I
be
wish.
a fish, I'm going to imagine.
Yep. So it's a Rio Jewel 240 that I had at home. I have set it up as close as I possibly can to biotope the region that diamond tetras are from. I got basically all the inspiration from the Ivan McColsey video series of him going into the wild, catching fish, pulling everything out of the waterway, setting up an aquarium, and through his books and that kind of stuff. So I consulted with him a couple times during the build process, talked to him about fish options and layout and all that kind of stuff, and ended up where we are. So there's about 40 or so diamond tetras in it and about 24 bronze corridors. And
Oh,
that's been
that's
set up.
that's quite impressive. Actually, those numbers, eh? That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, so there'll be obviously a little bit of natural attrition that happens, but be cool to kind of have that as the rough numbers that stay throughout the period of the tank. So yeah.
Are you going to do any other stuff in there, like mix any other things, or just leave it at that?
I've considered a blue acara because they are naturally in the same region, in the same waterway, as the diamond tetras. I just don't know if a blue acara will push the scale out too much or not for the size aquarium.
They're
that it
pretty
is.
cool fish, and they don't get exceptionally predatory or anything because they've got quite small mouths for their size, eh?
Yeah, so like there's a lot going for it. It's whether or not it's going to outscale everything else that's in it or not.
And the problem with them is finding ones that aren't all messed up. Like some ones that are actually blue and like their mouth is pointing the right way, and like they get that weird like grey sheen almost. So that if you can find a good one, that would be a cool fish though. But
you certainly don't see them like you used to, eh? They used to be.
Yeah.
I remember Pet Shop in Wanganui when I was a kid had this massive like 8-foot tank full of them, and they were like 20 centimeters long, and they just had like the most almost like lightning bolts lines all over them. They were just awesome, eh? The blues and the greens and stuff was so cool.
Yeah, they're a nice fish. Pretty underrated, to be totally fair.
Yeah, it's hard. 100%. It does seem to be hard to find nicer ones, as you guys have both sort of alluded to.
Yeah,
that is definitely something I found because like a lot of people, I think off YouTube and stuff say like, oh, it's probably particularly with like electric blues, but I suppose it applies to blues in general. Is they'll say like, oh, with like electric blue rams, they're always messed up. So like you substitute it for an electric blue acara because you'll get like a good quality, like healthy one with like actual blue and stuff. And then people try to do that because they see people recommend it on YouTube, but they always suck.
But they don't see the quality of the fish we get in New Zealand.
Yeah, it's a bit different. Like I think in New Zealand, our electric blue rams are a lot better than what I gather they are in America. But the electric blue acaras are a lot worse. So it's like back to front in that area.
I've
definitely
got about 40 or so electric blue acaras sitting in the shop at the moment that have been locally bred, and the parents came from wholesale, sold them to the customers. They sold them back to me, the fry, and the parents turned out absolutely phenomenal. So I think you might have got lucky with that. So that the fry coming through, they're not fry anymore. They're juveniles, but they look really, really good.
They were fry back in the day.
Yeah, very, very tempted to put one of them in with the diamond tetras, but I decided not to do that.
You won't do that because it's not a naturally occurring thing. Well, it probably is a naturally occurring at some stage, but it essentially is breeding a mutation.
So yeah, I believe they're a natural morph, but I just can't do it on my own principles for what I set the tank up for. So that's why I haven't done it yet.
And you like tanks to be really boring and not have any sort of flash in them, so you wouldn't want to put something in there that's actually got some color or look cool.
Have you had diamond tetras before? Have you seen them fucking sparkle? Yeah.
I actually had to Google them last time, and I have looked at them in shops, but they look like crap. So I need to look at some good ones.
They look awful when they're small. When they get adult, mature, they sparkle. They've got pinks and blues through them. They are gorgeous fish.
Yeah, I noticed that when I kept Colombian tetras. I like them when they got bigger. They look real cool.
Yeah.
You don't see them. So
there's so many fish like that. It's like they kind of look crap when you buy them. Give them like 3 to 6 months, and then it's like a completely different fish, really. Yeah. Especially like some of those slightly more beefy fish, like those, diamond tetras or
slightly bigger tetras.
Yeah, tetras, rainbows, barbs, like whatever. There's heaps. But
I like to call them hard cells.
What?
I like to call them hard cells.
Creative of you. I like it.
I reckon. Like you can walk into a shop, you can see that a cardinal tetra is pretty and colourful the way they are, right? But you can't see that a neon blue dwarf neon rainbow fish is going to look like that. So you've really got to sell them. And then 6 months down the track, people come back in the shop and say, "Oh, I'm so glad that I bought these. They are the most beautiful fish ever." Because but you've got to get people over the line.
Bright like a diamond.
Yeah, similar to.
Helen's got some.
Are you going to sing for us, Ryan?
Helen's got some reference there to a song. They shine bright. They shine bright like a diamond, eh?
Man, you are on fire today, man.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, sounds good. For me, I haven't really had that much going on, to be honest. Got some new fish, but honestly, nothing really that exciting, like some tetras and stuff. So,
Hey,
yeah.
tetras are exciting. What tetras did you get? Green neons?
No, should I tell that story? Okay, I'll tell that story, even though I probably shouldn't. So, this guy came in. I don't know
Oh
when it was, Sunday
okay.
maybe.
Yeah.
This guy came in maybe Sunday, and he was buying like he bought some guppies, and he bought some plants, and like a few bits and pieces, and he saw these green neons, and he's like, "Oh, those are awesome!" And then he asked some questions about like if they would be suitable with this other fish that he already had, and like how big they get, like all the boring stuff. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll get some." So he got like, he's like, "Oh, can I get, what was it? It was like 8 or something." He's like, "Oh, can I get 8 of them?" I was like, "Oh yeah, sure." And with the specific tank they're in my shop, not exactly the easiest fish to catch, because there's all these little like driftwood like poking up, like roots looking, like it looks like roots. So like going between, it's like kind of pain. Probably I shouldn't have put them in that tank, but what are you going to do? So it like took me a wee while to catch these fish. Like, I mean, I don't know, 10 minutes. It probably didn't take that long, but like say 10 minutes or whatever, somewhere like that, to finally get them all. And I like caught them all, and then I was when I do fish, I like put a little bit of water, then I catch all the fish, then I put more water, just so the bag's like easier to set in my little cup. It's like I filled it all the way up and everything, and I was like just going from where the tank is to walk over to where the rubber bands are, to like go tie the bag up. And then he like stops and he's like, "Oh, can I have a look?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." And so I like hold up the bag, and then he's like, "Oh no, these are the wrong ones. I wanted the blue ones." I'm like, "Oh yeah, this is the same fish," but then I had to explain to him about like when you catch the fish, then they wash out because they get all stressed out. It's like in here, they don't really look that colorful. They're pretty much just gray with like a little bit of blue. But like you put them in the tank and like give them like 2 minutes and they'll come back to life. And he's like, "Oh no, but I want those ones." And he like walked over and he was like pointing at the other ones. And I was like explaining like, this is the same fish. Like I can swap them out if you want for those other ones, but those other ones will then just lose all their color. So it'll be best to go with these ones. And then he just walked out and didn't take anything. So that was kind of annoying.
Did he just literally walk out?
Yeah. Oh, I think no. By this stage, he'd already paid for his other stuff, like his guppies.
Yeah.
But he didn't take the like. I think he, paid for the guppies, and then after that, then he saw the other ones and wanted to pay for look at them. But
so it wasn't a full mic drop.
He'll probably come back in. He'll probably come back in next time, and he'll be like, "Oh man, there's those fish you couldn't catch last time. Can I have them again?"
I don't know.
And you'll be like,
because I was gonna show him, like I was gonna catch them out the bag, or like take them out the bag and then put them in, and then show him like when you put them in, the color will come back. But yeah, so that was a bit of a funny story that happened to me this week. But that's probably the only exciting thing I have to report.
I get that a lot with African cichlids. Like you get this really nice male. They go, "Oh, I want that one." You catch it for them, put it in the bag, they hold up and go, "Oh, it doesn't have any color." You're like, "Well, it's in a bag and it's stressed. Of course, it's lost all its color. It's not happy."
I had that with those Kenii the other day as well. Like when I caught them, the males lost all their color, but and it kind of even shocked me because it was like so. They went from fully yellow to like fully blue.
With what fish? Like,
Kenii. Kenii. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's just like this little Mbuna bad boy. But and then I was like, "Oh god, did I catch the wrong one?" But then you look closer and like you can see a bit of yellow. It's like, "Oh yeah, just give him 5 seconds, he'll be right." Just a little drama queen.
It's only a matter of time before they start killing everything.
Yeah, well, it'll be right. They were actually going into a tank by themselves, so they'll be fine.
Nice.
But yeah, so that's my funny story. And we have also got a question from someone called Bob Ryan, who lives in America. So I will read that out for the next segment.
Is that last week's email that you saved for this week?
No, this is the one after. That's the one after.
Okay.
Because this one's long. So I was going to read the long one first, and then the other one's short, and we'll finish on the short one.
Okay. Because we've got to fill this
If that's
segment
okay with
out,
you.
because when we get to water changes, it's going to be very quick. So,
Ayo. But, yeah, I'll read this.
that's
if you
definitely
like.
not what she said.
Nice. Hold on. I just clicked something. I can't find it. Oh, no, there we go. So he says, "Hello, my name is Bob. I'm 64 and I live in Chicago." And he listens to podcasts, which is good to hear.
So
He says,
straight away we know he's cool.
exactly. It's a good start at the very least. Where am I? He says he's a longtime fish keeper, and he's recently a member of the Greater Chicago Cichlid Association, and
Nice.
he used to play rugby. So that's interesting.
He's basically a Kiwi.
Yeah, well, that's what he says. He says he's been around enough Kiwis to understand most of what we try to say. So that's a good start, at least.
I get that quite regularly. The guy that does, sorry to interrupt, the guy that does my internet stuff with me, website stuff with me, is like, I know you're speaking English, but I just quite can't understand what New Zealand English really is.
Eh?
Yeah.
It's like you've bastardized it, like everything else New Zealand gets a hold of.
Exactly. But yeah, so he goes on and he's got a question, and his question is this. So he wants to know what our opinion is on fish club breeding programs. So like BAPs and like cares and stuff. And then before you answer, he's got some pros. Friendly competition, introducing new fish to the clubs and the hobby. But then he has some cons, which he says it's cutthroat competition, it's easy to cheat, and sacrificing quality for quantity of the fish that you're trying to breed. So what do you guys reckon? As Ryan walked away from the computer, so I guess it's your turn, Cam.
I think they're a good option, specifically. The word that it's really early in the morning.
Pacific or Indian? Which ocean?
Maybe I'll start that again. I think they're a really good option, specifically for smaller groups and smaller townships. Because
Like Nelson.
Shut up, Dick.
Yeehaw! Hot diggity.
Because people in the club get to move fish around between each other a little bit easier, more options between the club, and it builds, although Bob said a rivalry, I think it can breed quite a healthy competition and a bit of fun between people. But that obviously depends on who is in the club and how they take that kind of thing as well.
Yeah, makes sense. I was going to say, I'd say it probably just depends on, from person to person. Like, some people, I suppose, would like quite enjoy it and like get into it and that. But then some people would just be like, breeding for the sake of breeding and not really enjoying it. So probably just depends on what exactly your hobby looks like and like what you want to do and like what you have fun doing and all this kind of thing. Like, obviously, if you're really into like plants, then probably this is not for you. But if you're really into breeding, then go to town. There's definitely pros of like stuff that probably wouldn't getting bred and like making less common fish more available and stuff like that. It's not really a thing in New Zealand, I'm going to say. I'm not aware of any clubs that have any currently.
In the FNZAS, they used to have a breeding program, and I remember getting all these pins sent out to me when I got to certain numbers of species and stuff when I was breeding them.
I'm 99% sure they still have a breeding program.
Which club do I mean?
FNZAS. I know. I know the Tasman Aquarium Club do.
Huh. Well, I did not know that.
Clubs here. The problem with the clubs here is the same with the problem with most of the stuff that we talk about. Is it's just numbers.
Yeah.
Like Like, if the Auckland club did have a competition, there'd only be I'm guessing. I don't know everyone's tanks, but there wouldn't be that many people with more than 3 or 4 tanks, probably. You know, so
I
like
think you'd be surprised, to be
to have a
honest.
competition, there's not that many people with big, massive fish rooms though to actually pump out large numbers
Oh,
of
yeah.
fish to compete in a breeding competition. If it's to breed the most numbers of fish or whatever,
I know.
So
I know Frank was talking about. So Frank, who runs the Auckland club, was talking about
Yeah.
starting one. I don't know.
Association.
No, like starting a competition. I mean,
No. Is it the Auckland Fish Keepers Association or the Auckland Fish Keeper Club?
it's the same thing.
Auckland Aquarium Association, I think it's called. No,
It's the same thing.
Aquarium
Doesn't matter.
Summit.
It's a club. It's a club.
There's
Well,
only
it-
one.
It does matter because the one that would be affiliated to the FNZAS is a totally different thing.
That's
'Cause
dead. It doesn't
Yeah, but
exist.
it doesn't
it's not there
exist.
anymore. Oh, I
There's
thought
only
it was
one.
still there.
There's only one fish club in Auckland, and it's a Alcoholics Anonymous Auckland, AAA.
AAA. But yeah, I know he was talking about starting
Aquariums
one.
Anonymous Auckland. That's what it is.
Yeah. So, yeah. And I know there is a lot of people who would, because the thing is, there's a lot more people obviously keeping fish than go to the club. So, and like keeping fish like relatively, I don't know, seriously is the word, but pretty into it. So, like, I think there would be enough to support a club in New Zealand, in Auckland at least. But I mean,
A breeding
There would be-
competition. A breeding.
yeah,
thing.
exactly. The awards programs and stuff.
I was approached to run it for the Auckland club, but I did not. So
Yeah, you're
When
too
I
busy
was-
being a world famous podcaster.
oh yeah.
When I was involved with the Tasman Club and we were getting the breeding thing up and running, I went out and got all the trophies for like best aquarium, best breeder, all that kind of stuff. And when I was getting the trophy for the breeder one, I thought it was hilarious to put a rabbit on top of the trophy. So that's exactly what I did.
Comedy gold.
I like that. That's good.
I was happy with it, and the old boys found that quite amusing as well, which I thought was good.
Oh, it's a good start.
The only thing, one of the bad things I think of like having a breeding program is if you're not into breeding, it's zero interest to you because not everyone's into breeding fish.
I'm not gonna lie, couldn't care less about breeding
fish. Yeah, and that's my point.
No,
like,
just
want to be
boring.
involved in that can be a pull for some people to get into a fish club and get involved in that. But there's people that have zero interest in breeding fish, so it's not really that interesting.
Yeah, but they
to them.
can go along for other things like the baking or whatever.
Of course.
Yo,
whatever.
I'm keen.
Whatever.
Yeah.
There's going to be a big aquascaping thing on the Auckland Club on Friday. That might make some really cool people come out of the woodwork.
Is that on Friday?
Yeah.
Who are the special
well,
guests?
guess I can't go, so that's awkward.
Why are you not going to go?
Well, I thought it was tomorrow.
Why are you not going? Friday's good. Just go on Friday instead.
Nah, I'm busy on Friday.
He's got dinner with Mummy.
Awkward. Yeah, man. Your mum could only do Friday, so.
Hey!
And Friday is a code name for Cam.
Damn, that is actually really annoying because I did actually want to go to that one.
Who are the special
Oh.
guests that they're bringing in?
2 hour.
The 2-hour Aquarius
Products.
people from Singapore or wherever.
Dennis Wong.
Well, I don't actually know. I think there's like three or four people or something coming. Like there's like a little group of them.
I did
I don't
notice
know
there
who
was no names mentioned in the post. It's the
fill
it's
the
the
space.
admin,
I'll read it for you.
Aquascape people.
it's the admin person, the distributor, and somebody else, isn't it?
It just says it's 2-hour Aquarius Singapore. So
Yeah.
I guess a
Sales
of
rep,
fertilizers giving a talk.
administrator, and distributor.
I don't know, man.
There
Time
you
will
go.
tell. Man,
Not
I'm
me.
actually really
I'm not
annoyed I
gonna
can't go.
So what about Bob? Bob, this Bob's email is that all he asked about the breeding program? Was it?
Yeah, pretty much. And then he also said that because he lives in Northside Chicago, and he said he's not a Cubs fan and he's a lifelong White Sox fan. So that sucks for him.
You'd know what that means. because you
Yeah,
follow that
exactly.
sort of thing.
I do,
I
and we
want-
have a lot of American listeners actually who will know what that means.
I once had a cat I called White Sox.
A what?
Is that a cat that was called White Sox?
Why did you call it
Man.
that? Or do you supporting a sports team?
Because its paws were white. Duh.
Oh,
Yeah, Ryan,
man, that's
come on. You
original.
probably should have been able to work that one out. Wasn't
Was it
that
like a
hard?
Sean Ram snail?
Yeah. I've got a question for Bob. Is Chicago deep dish pizza any good? Or is it just a fallacy that makes people think it's good?
I've heard bad
I-
things. I'm not going to
I
lie.
can't get the concept of how that is actually a pizza. And is it just like pizza crust that's gone up, then full of like the pizza sauce and then covered in cheese? Is that how they work? If you could please let us know, I'd really appreciate
I
that.
don't think there's such a thing as a bad pizza. I haven't been to Chicago though, but so I've only been to Boston.
That surprises
and
me,
Philly,
Mr. Moneybags hasn't
Yeah.
been to Chicago.
So,
Jet
I'd like to go
setter.
to Chicago. That'd be cool.
Well, yeah. Just save up, G. Sell some more
I
insect
do.
screens.
I have a listener mail too from me.
You
No,
From
you're not
me.
a listener. You're a
And this was
contributor. It doesn't
this was
count.
before the three of us were famous, and it's a story
so
about
long.
the time that Cam Inbred came to Auckland and discovered a new type of cuisine. So Cam came up to Auckland, and the three of us caught up, and he was driving my mighty Suzuki Swift around, loving life.
I loved it.
And we all met up to have dinner, and it was Takapuna, eh?
It's just
Yeah,
down the road
well,
from the
Milford, but similar.
Yeah.
Same
So
idea.
we were cruising around looking for a place to eat, and then we're like, oh, we'll have Japanese, eh? And then we go in, and obviously Cooler Cam and I knew what Japanese was, but Inbred Cam's mind was just blowing. He was looking at the menu, didn't know what anything was. Didn't know. He's like, what is this? What do I order? I've never been to a place like this before. and so he orders his stuff, and then he's like, what's this hot broth that's in front of me? What is this? Oh, it's good. What is this? And then he's looking at the chopsticks, and he looks like a gorilla trying to stab little tiny pieces of rice with his fucking chopsticks. And he'd never had Japanese before in his life, so it was hilarious. It was the most funny
Okay,
thing I've ever seen in my whole entire life.
So, because you've just elaborated on that story, given plenty of tax on it, A, I have had Japanese food before. B, I've never had the need to use chopsticks before because, someone invented a fork, and forks do exactly what you need, putting food in said mouth. And I'd never had miso before, and that's not a bad thing.
It was good.
Dude, miso's
liked it?
mean.
Meh.
You liked
Miso's
it.
meh.
That is a
liked
bad
it.
take.
I like the
But yeah, that
octopus.
was just
The octopus
there was just
was
something that popped into my mind the other day that
And
we'd
you-
forgotten to pay you out for.
I'm pretty sure we didn't forget at the time.
Oh no, there was definitely
Not the first
Definitely
time
lots
you
of-
told that story.
lots of hilarity. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Nowadays we wouldn't be able to walk down the street in Takapuna without getting swamped by fans, but
Swamped by
that was
wanting
in our
autographs.
days of obscurity,
And paparazzo.
yeah, and pepperoni pizza.
Pizza.
Exactly. So we also have a part 2 to this segment. So we have also got a message from Adam, who's from Australia, I believe.
From who?
And Adam Jones
yeah.
from Australia. We had a question from him maybe a month ago or something like that. So
Then why have we left them for so long?
Because it
No,
only
this is a
came in
different
yesterday.
listen.
Was it a question from a month ago or a question from yesterday?
No, well, it's from a few days ago, but yeah,
Oh,
he had
hang
a
on.
separate question last time.
Okay.
He wants to know, have we ever invested a lot into a project, obviously fish related, that is like time or money or like emotion or like resources or whatever, only to be disappointed? And then he wants to know what fish that was and why.
Can I just lump sum it and say my business? Does that count?
Sure.
Can I say the two entire fish rooms that are fish that I've lost due to disasters?
Sure. Have you told those stories before?
Yeah, we did a entire episode on the biggest fuck-ups that we've had, basically. But yeah,
Well, you guys can go back and listen to that if you like.
my biggest one that I've lost recently was the Tropheus bishops that I killed.
How did you do that?
Well, I left the they weren't breeding, so I was flushing through fresh water every day whenever I went in the fish room, and I just left the water running and just killed them all. So yeah, it was gutting. It was like 28 adults or something.
Well, that is suboptimal, shall we say?
But yeah, I've killed entire fish rooms. One through my fuck up, one through a tornado that knocked out the power, and we couldn't get back through into the house to do anything about it. So,
are you saying you controlled the tornado? Are you calling yourself God?
That was one that I could not control.
That's what I've just heard. I've killed 2 fish rooms of fish. One was because of water, and one was because of a tornado. You're claiming that you caused that tornado. You're claiming to be Jeebus.
Well, I did eat some really mean Mexican the night before.
Can't argue with that.
But yeah, that was actually something else, that tornado. Like, there were trees, like, so big you couldn't put your arms around them, that had been there for hundreds of years, that blew down, and all the power lines blew down, roofs were blown off houses, and yeah, it was pretty crazy. Our trampoline ended up like 6 houses down the road through someone's window.
If I remember rightly, and I probably don't, that was around 2010. But if I remember rightly, and again, I probably don't, it was either just before or just after I bought some fish off you.
Oh, yeah?
Probably before.
Can't have been after you killed us.
Or I was going to be buying fish off you, but I couldn't because of it.
So what happened basically is that whole area got cordoned off, and they wouldn't let you in.
Yeah.
They cut the power to the whole area until they've gone through and inspected every single house, and so you could only get through once through a cordon. I got through a couple more times because I had my uniform and stuff and managed to get through. But
were you impersonating a stripper?
No, I was impersonating an official person doing inspection so I can try and get my fish out. But anyway,
so you were a sexy cop coming in to check everything.
Well, Air Force, but different situation. But anyway, I got in a couple of times to try and do what I could, but without any power, there was nothing I could do, and I couldn't physically get enough access to get that many fish out. So yeah, they did not survive.
That is not ideal.
Not ideal.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the only one that really comes to mind is I set up a tank for pea puffers once, and that was a waste of time. That was, just pretty boring fish, man. Not gonna lie, don't really do anything.
Did they kill each other, or did they just not do anything?
No, they're just like hard to see, really. I don't know if it's just my eyesight or whatever, but like,
do you want these so you can see your fish better?
Well, thankfully I don't have these pea puffers anymore, but like they were just so hard to see and like so boring. They didn't really do anything. So
hang on, wasn't there some news this week about your about you not being able to see shit?
Oh yeah, I have to get glasses, so that'll be fun. They're on the way.
But
they're arriving in like a week.
But you're blaming the pea puffers.
Yeah, well, I mean, this was a long time. This was back when I didn't have eye trouble. So,
and you hassled me about needing glasses and being old, and now at your age you already need them, so you're fucked.
It's just a fashion statement, man. Don't worry about it.
Are you going full Elton John, rose tinted and everything?
Well, you'll just have to wait and see, won't you?
For dangly pink.
It's a secret.
Also, Ryan's glasses hack is you can buy most of them if you've got very basic prescription off AliExpress for like $5. So
you are so tight, man.
So if I paid $300 for a set, if you sit on them, they're fucked. Buy some $5 ones. Sweet ass,
30 years down the track, completely blind because you've had the wrong glasses the whole time. But they're only $5, man. It's all good.
Yeah,
I did a scientific experiment on them. We're in the $200 ones and we're in the AliExpress ones, and I couldn't tell the difference.
But
science, right there.
For how long? For how long?
Probably long enough until I sit on them or lose them. I think I've lost both pairs anyway, actually. I don't even know where they are. So, yeah.
Sweet as. Oh, well, yeah, so I guess that's the end of our very long listener mail segment. If anybody
It's
wants
time
to...
for a random question.
Well, I was going to say, if
Random
anyone wants...
question.
Random
Random
question.
Random question. That's the theme song.
Oh, God, that was terrible.
Well,
We've got to work on
if
that.
anyone wants to send in any listener mail, you can. You can send it to podcast3idiots@gmail.com and we'll take a look. Or you can Facebook message any of us, or, come tell us in person, or send us a letter in the post, or whatever you want to do. Get your information to us, and we'll read them, and we'll read them out on the podcast. So any questions or stories or
We just need a bit more
insults,
abuse.
whatever you want.
We need a bit more abuse or a bit more, there's
Jokes
way too
about how
serious.
bald Ryan is would be good. I'd enjoy those. So whatever you got, send them to us.
Bald, especially with the headset on, go backwards. But yeah,
Yeah, just hides whatever little hair you have.
yeah.
Should we get to do our chant now?
We just did it.
Yeah, and
Cameron
Thomas
was
says you could. Well, Thomas says that you can send a fax. So
I'm not sure if faxes are still a real thing anymore. I think they've been discontinued. Like those phones that go.
well, I mean, you can try, Thomas. I have no idea what will happen, but hey, only one way to find out.
Probably the first thing we'd need is a fax number, and I don't believe we have one of them.
Sounds like something Ryan would have, to be honest.
Do you want to know a funny story? I'm going to tell you anyway about fax. When I first started setting up my business, I was talking to my accountant. I was like, all right, so how do I sort of set up a fax machine and a fax number? And he just squeally over the phone said, what do you need a fax machine for? This is not 1980.
And he was right.
Okay. He stuck with, okay, I don't need a fax machine. I thought that everybody needed a fax machine in business. Turns out I was wrong.
I don't even know if I've ever seen a fax machine.
You wouldn't, boomer. I mean, baby boomer.
Baby boomer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny. Good one.
They were good. They were good to send like funny things to other people because they just printed out randomly, so you could send, phallic symbols or whatever you wanted to other businesses that would just randomly appear.
Was that the first generation of dick pics?
Pretty much, faxing them to each other. Yeah.
Comedy gold.
Also, when you find out a large organisation what they've got a bunch of printers like everywhere, you can find out what the name of their printer is, and you can print random stuff on their printer. That's also quite amusing as well.
Damn, take me back to the 80s.
It can all be traced though. That's the problem.
Boo.
And you do end up in front of your boss trying to explain why you sent obscenities to other people across the Air Force base. But anyway, that's a different story.
Oh, sweet as. Well, for today's random question, it will be, if you could go on a trip to anywhere, any place, where would you go? Feel free to answer the question.
I would go to Nelson because I want to see how we lived 150 years ago.
It's like a time capsule.
I would probably. Where would I want to go? Is this just me, or is this me and the missus?
Up to
you. No, I wasn't. Oh, I wasn't going there. Well, if it was just me, then I'd like to go to Africa and dive with the fishies. But I don't think that she would enjoy that. So,
fair enough.
For me, I'd like to go dive with the fishies in Lake Malawi.
What about you, Cam?
Well, funnily enough, I had this conversation with my wife last night as we were watching Kill Bill.
And she told you where you were going?
No.
And what you were wearing?
No. I already knew what I was wearing, my birthday suit.
Oh God.
No, America, Canada, Mexico, Japan, and somewhere in Scandinavian regions. That's my list of things I'm never ever going to achieve before I die.
It's not that much.
I can't nail them down to one.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I've heard Mexico is quite cool. So
I only want to go to Mexico I want to go to Mexico because Everclear sang a song about a Mexican girl who liked Mexican brew and Mexican food. I equally like Mexican food.
Mm.
Can't
Do you
argue with
think that Mexican food in Mexico will be the same as Mexican food in New Zealand?
Not
I
even
think
close.
it'll be 1,000 times better.
Do you? Or do you
Yeah.
think you'll be disappointed because you're used to Europeanized Mexican food?
No, because I think it'll be deliciously spicy and have all sorts of gorgeous flavors in it, and bits of fatty bits of pig face and pig cheeks and all sorts of good stuff like that.
All right, Cam's getting a little bit too excited, so we'll move on. I
What
would
about
go
you?
to Jamaica probably, so that's my
Ah.
pick.
Is that so you can party with Chris Gale?
Yo,
It's so
I
that
did
he
actually.
can. It's so he can be in a bobsled team.
No, that'd be sick. But I did actually read. I was reading a book the other day. I was reading Ross Taylor's book, and he wrote this thing about a party that was at Chris Gale's house. Absolutely mental. Like Shaggy was there, like all these super famous people, and it's just like, oh yeah, this guy plays cricket. Don't worry about it. So yeah,
Do you follow Chris Gale on Instagram by any chance?
I do. Yes, absolute
My
legend.
gosh, yeah.
No one else knows what we're talking about, especially
I
all
don't
our
even know who
American
Chris
listeners.
Gale is.
But
Chris Gale sounds
he's
like
just like an absolute legend.
He's universe
So-
boss for a reason.
Yeah, the universe
he-
boss.
is he a famous cricketer? Is he?
A little
Yes.
bit, yeah. He's done a couple of things on a cricket field, but he's more famous for his antics off it. He's really
He's
not.
just
He's,
mental.
Is he a party boy?
he's a universe
Yeah.
boss.
No.
Indeed. But yeah, so now with 15 minutes left, let's move on to the main topic of today's what is this podcast?
That's a good intention, that one right there.
So what
I've got a question. I've got a question that I want to start this segment on.
go to town?
I watched a guy on YouTube called Fatherfish, and he doesn't do water changes. Is that good? Can I do that, please? I saw it on
Well-
YouTube. It must be true. Can I not water change my tank while my
First-
fish lived for 27 years?
I think first you should probably explain what that means for all the other people who have no idea, like for all the listeners who have no idea what you're talking about. And then after you explain that, then we can answer the actual question.
So
So go.
yeah, Fatherfish is it's actually interesting.
Big
And I
bearded
like it.
fella.
I like the idea. I like the idea of it. Where he has a tank that's basically in equilibrium and balanced really well, fully planted, so this tank would not work. Where basically you don't do water changes on it because the plants absorb all the waste and you just top it up. So
From evaporation in that.
yeah, basically from evaporation. Yeah. And I don't. Well, I agree with the principle of it, but I don't agree with the idea that most people will be able to set it up easily and get it to that stage. You know, I don't think it'll be possible for most people.
That's weird. Your microphone just changed and
Did it just
and
change?
threw me off. Yeah.
Well,
But yeah, I
my
mean
balls just dropped. Sorry.
that,
I have a little.
but yeah,
squeaker.
I mean, I definitely agree. I think it's one of those ones where it's like it is applicable for like a very specific setup, like low fish stocking density. Obviously, like a deep gravel bed, growing a lot of plants, that kind of thing. And I think it's one a lot of people get confused, and they're like, "Oh, can I do a father fish peacock tank?" It's like, yeah, probably not. That's unlikely to get you the results that
Well, you could probably
get.
do it with a tank like this, but you'd have to have a refuge. What do you call it? Refugium? What do you call it?
Refugium.
Refugium, the same size as this tank, full of plants to try and replicate.
Yeah,
it,
exactly.
You know, to try and suck all the shit out.
It wouldn't. It really wouldn't. I don't think work because like even if you do have a lot of plants growing in there, there's other things you'd want to be dealing with if that makes sense. So I don't think it would. I think for a tank like yours behind you to achieve that kind of goal of not having to do any water changes would be like a massive ordeal. And obviously even scaled down, if you want to have like a decent amount of fish, for example, you're probably going to struggle. Because I think it's very specific setup, which is not applicable for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So
And-
yeah.
and I think-
Arguably, arguably it's applicable for most people because more people have plants and not plants. But it's very
No,
specific.
but I mean, even in terms of like having the amount of fish that's needed, like most people want more fish in that tank, for example. But then that's obviously going to be too many. And then
So you guys see that
what are you
comment
going to
pop
do? I did. I'm going to assume. Oh, whoops, my bad.
That'll be
So
Tom,
who? Right, get
Braxton,
go.
I reckon.
Matt,
Both
Braxton.
of you are wrong. There you go, Matt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was thinking it's probably Matt.
Yeah.
Have to do water changes for the tank leaks anyway. Yeah, I mean, well, that's part of the water change system, right?
Don't
You
worry,
know?
it's meant to do that.
It's like when you have an old car that uses so much oil, you've got to top it up. It's just a constant oil change. You don't have to do oil changes on it. You know, it's just
7%
that's how
water
it
change a
works.
week.
Yeah.
But yeah. So why
You lost your train of thought, right?
I did, yes. I did have somewhere I wanted to steer this conversation, but I don't 100% remember. Oh, what is some of do you guys reckon most common like problems or like places people get tripped up when it comes to doing water changes? Like
Doing
how
them
do
or not
they
doing them?
either? Like
I
how
think-
do people get themselves into issues with this area?
I think the old, I've got a fish bowl, I've got to take my fake plant, my fake car, my pink rainbow gravel out, get some detergent, scrub the shit out of the bowl, scrub all the stones, get everything all sparkly, put fresh brand new water in, put the fish back in, is where a lot of people have issues. As opposed to just taking like 20 or 30% of the water out, doing a gravel vac, replacing with fresh water type system every week, just once every 6 months spring clean sort of scenario because the tank's got milk grass.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's a problem.
That's quite a common thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other problem is carry on.
No, you go, Ryan.
That's an old school terminology of cleaning the goldfish bowl, isn't it? People do that,
Yeah.
and they still do that, and
Yeah.
they still, and obviously we know what the problem is with it. It's just gonna stuff everything up.
Kill all your beneficial bacteria and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think another one that I see a lot is like, in general, is just like overcomplication, I guess, of everything, which is not obviously good because with a water change, you want to do it pretty regularly.
And if
like,
it's hard, if it's like you've got to dedicate 4 hours to doing a bloody water change, you're not going to do it as often as you need to.
Exactly.
Or you're not going to keep fish for very long because you're going to
when
get
you
sick
do
of
it, it's like super stressful, and then there's no point. But it's one of those ones where it's like a lot of overcomplication. Like, for example, when you're putting the new water in, it doesn't have to be exactly the right temperature. You know, like if it's ballpark close enough, it'll be fine. Like, for example, I know there's people that like get a little thermometer out and like mix it all together in the bucket and like get the temperature exactly right, then add the dechlorinator into the bucket and then swish it all around and stuff. It's like it'll take a long time and get so confusing. If the temperature's more or less right, like right to the touch, you know, with your hand, if it feels more or less the same, it'll be fine. If it's a couple degrees more, a couple degrees less, nothing's going to matter. I mean, even so, at my shop, I don't have hot water. So I have no choice. I just have to do it all straight out of the hose at whatever.
Do you not have hot water?
I do not have hot water.
Isn't it like against like health and safety regulations? Or is it different because it's commercial?
I'd assume it's different because it's commercial. I didn't even have it.
Give me a shit about their tenants. Anyway, keep going.
I didn't have a sink when I moved in, so I'm sure
really?
It's fine. Yeah. But yeah, I don't have hot water, so like I don't have any choice. But you know, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
I fill my tanks over winter from the tap, like my big tanks, and I just boil the jug. I just fill them out of the hose, and I just boil the jug and pour boiling water in. Well,
that is dangerous, but that's one of those ones. Don't do as we say, but you know what's going on.
I mean, you can get it. You can put the boiling water into a bowl and then slowly swish it in if you want to. But I've never had an issue with it. obviously I'm careful where I pour it. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Don't pour it on the
But,
fish or like on, well, not on the plants. You don't have any.
So I'll
but
start
you know
doing the
what I mean.
water change. I'll chuck a pot of water on the stove. I'll start boiling the jug, and then as the jug boils, I'll just pour it in, and it just keeps the temperature dropped. Because otherwise, it goes from 27 to 19 over
What are we
winter.
what are we talking about here? How much water are you taking out for it to go that far?
50%.
That's not actually that much. I would have thought it'd be way more.
Yeah. So
What's
you're saying that in the winter time you take out 50% of your water,
Mm-hmm.
and if you replace it with cold water, it goes from your aquarium being 27 degrees to 19 degrees.
The water in the tap's like 10 degrees. You know,
Yeah,
like
I get that as the weather gets colder, tap water gets colder. Like, I understand the logic. I'm not that behind the times. Maths is here. But, yeah, that much to that much, I am surprised that it drops that much.
Well,
Yeah,
my
that
peacock
bird
and hap
drops it.
tank, I do like roughly 75% usually, and it will go from about 26 to about 18 usually.
Yeah.
When I do a water
So,
change.
like, it's funny that 19 sounded way colder than 18 then. Yeah, 27 to
Maths hasn't
18.
made it that far.
27 to 19 sounded way more dramatic than 26 to 18.
Yeah, it's like 25, 26 to 18.
Have you slightly considered doing 2 smaller water changes a week?
Well, I
that's
do
the
like
answer.
75% like 2 or 3 times a week. So
That would be
I
the
can't
answer
really
for
split
me,
that
but
up any
it's
further.
more work. This tank here, I don't worry about. I just do 50% without putting the hot water in, and the fish are fine. But the Tropheus, I'm a little bit more.
Oh yeah, you probably
Worried
wouldn't,
about.
wouldn't want to do it on super sensitive fish.
Because with trophies, you can just look at them and they all die. Be careful, you might have just killed one.
Ryan's
Just look at them.
too familiar with pumping in cold water and killing them all. Don't worry about it. He knows exactly what's going on there.
Have you thought about to save
Diamond
yourself a bit of
Tetris?
time? No, one of those like mixing things that you can just take straight off the thing and it mixes it straight away.
That'd probably be the answer. Put one of them on the tap, hey? It's
Yeah.
right next to the tank.
Yeah, as opposed to having to boil jugs. But then again, you're pretty tight, and boiling a jug, you've probably already worked out that you have to boil the jug 67,000 times before it's going to cost you more money doing it that way than what it is just buying the attachment. Is that about right?
But the attachments are on Temu, so they're cheap as. Sorted.
Oh, so we know what Ryan's got in the post?
Yeah.
I haven't
He's
got one of
also
them
got-
yet, but they're on my watch list. I'm waiting for Temu to. As soon as you put it in your cart, it goes on special. So you've got to put it in your cart first. Wait a couple of days for them to give you a discount, and then you buy it.
You also got something
fair
else
enough.
in the mail today. Don't forget about that.
Oh shit! You sent them. Cool. Or him.
Yep.
It.
Yep.
Thank you.
Well, Helen has a question. She would like to know. So she always wonders about those who only top off from evaporation. How often do they test TDS, which is total dissolved solids? Because she says water change proponents tend to be no testing proponents too. And I think we all know they never tested TDS. Come on. Let's be honest. They probably don't even know what that means. But Cam, seeing as Ryan walked away, I'll ask you, what is TDS and why is it important to know what's going on there?
Essentially, it's the shit in the water. Total dissolved
Cool.
solids is the junk mineral build-up and stuff that's in the water, essentially. Hard water fish, higher TDS, generally okay. Softer water fish, lower TDS is generally what you're looking for.
And you do want some, because like a lot of people for, I think, marine tanks, you want RO water, which would be like completely nothing, just straight water.
Yeah, and then
you mix it with the salt to put it.
But they add everything back in.
Yeah, exactly. To put whatever.
So they need to control. They start nothing, so they control what they're putting back in. Yeah.
Exactly. For freshwater, it's not as important, I guess, but you do want more going on in the water, basically.
what Helen's alluding to here is often so if we get a tank and then we measure ammonia and nitrates and nitrites and pH and hardness, we go, yep, that tank's sweet. I don't need to do a water change, right? But what Helen's sort of alluding to and what I sort of believe is that there's a lot more in the tank that we're doing the water change to remove. And there's a lot more macro and micro crap in there that we're trying to dilute and trying to also replace and add back in that the fish are using. There's hormones, there's all sorts of stuff that we don't aware of that we can't measure. And also, I think water changes are key to health and also an easy way to keep your tank healthy. You know what I mean? You're not going to do any harm by doing a water change. Something goes wrong, do a water change. You know what I mean? Fish look sad, do a water change. It's not going to hurt.
Exactly.
So
And yeah, I definitely agree that there is much more going on when it comes to water changes than just the, normal stuff like your nitrates and that you're trying to deal with. Because even things like calcium and that you're wanting to, I guess, give a restart to, because gets consumed by the plants and stuff anyway, like all this different stuff. So you want to keep on top of that because otherwise they just run out basically, which is not ideal. We also have another question from Rochelle, which says, when you do a water change and you're trying to use like water conditioner, for example, do you put the water in a bucket, then mix it all together, then put it in the tank? Or what's the deal there?
I've had a problem recently. I got these black capelli comps, right? Now, in the fish room, I got 9 of them, and I ended up selling a pair to my mate because the rest all died. They did not like the fish room, even though it was only a very small water change. So I did a water change on the big tank that they are now in the lounge, so I keep an eye on them. And halfway through the water change, they started lying on the bottom, gasping, looking like crap. So I stopped the water change, and then I added prime and continued the water change, and they recovered. The next water change, I added prime, and they didn't. They looked a little bit stressed, probably because the temperature dropped, but not that bad. So I can tell you that adding prime to the tank does seem to neutralize the chlorine as you're going in. And I dose for the whole volume of the tank and put the water in.
No. There's 2 things here we need to address. A, you're supporting CChem, but the more important thing is
stability.
No,
I should have kept the tank stable, right?
no.
Oh shit! I said the no word. I said the no word. Oh no.
The more important thing is the no chemical
Brigade.
We need to find a term. The no chemical. I don't use any chemicals in my aquarium. I've done water changes for 50 years. Never even used.
This is the first time I've used prime in 15 years. I'm surprised I even had some.
That's right. You were one of those no chemical wounders.
Where did you even get it from?
I believe in dechlorinator.
Shoplifted from you.
I definitely believe in dechlorinator. I think it probably came in a pack with some other chemicals that don't work, but this one does. So yeah.
Oh, does the job.
Dechlorinator is definitely needed. If they put chlorine in your water, you're fucked.
I've got it. You don't need dechlorinator normally because you boil your water, which boils out the chlorine.
Funny. I don't think Ryan appreciated that one.
I don't think Ryan understands the logic.
No.
He's a smart guy, but he doesn't get simple stuffs.
Exactly. I don't boil every single thing that goes in the tank.
You can sort it out.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say is, like, if you're not keeping like super sensitive stuff like tank Ekins and that, you're fine to just dose the whole tank afterwards. Like if you're filling it up from the hose, for example, you can just fill it up while it's dose it while it's filling up. But for like if you're doing it out of a bucket, doesn't really make that much difference either way, unless you're keeping super pain in the ass fish like comps and that. Probably want to be a little bit more careful. But yeah, it doesn't matter too much.
How are you finding your capelli in the shop? What are you doing for them?
Just same as what I do for everyone else. But I got a big carbon block on the filter, on the water inline. Oh, yeah. So there's no chlorine in it anyway.
How often do you change the carbon?
Just whenever the flow gets slow, like every 6 months maybe.
Right. Because that's
Yeah.
another thing I've always wondered with those is how do you tell when they're stuffed, apart from if you measure the chlorine in your water going
When
through.
the flow starts to get slow is what I've always done, and
But they
it's
wouldn't
fine.
clog up though, would they?
Yeah, they do.
No. Okay. Cool.
You definitely notice when the flow gets slow. At least out the hose. I don't know if you'd notice out the tap, but at the hose you can definitely tell.
No. Cool.
So yeah, sweet as.
So what are our take home messages about water changes?
Make sure you do
my
them
rule
and
is
keep it
always
simple.
I try and do recommend to people to do at least 25% a week. But if you've got big heavily stocked tanks, at least 50% a week, twice a week if you can, type thing is what I recommend.
I don't
for
like
African
telling
cichlids, you know.
people. I don't like telling people like specific amounts of that because it really depends. Like there's a lot of variables. So usually I just say you want to figure it out by seeing the good kind of rule of thumb is seeing how fast the nitrates is increasing, and using that you'll be able to tell like how often and how much volume wise you'll need to do to like keep that down. And then if you're keeping that down, everything else will kind of follow suit. So maybe it's once a week, maybe it's once a fortnight, maybe it's
I just try
20%,
and
maybe it's
when
50%.
I'm dealing with people, I always just try and give them something to start with. You know what I mean? Like I think if
Yeah.
you're doing 25% a week, you're probably not going to go too far wrong. If you're running a really
Yeah.
high stocking like that, then you probably need to be doing more. You know, like that's what I sort of start with, just to give them a rule, just to make it easy for them and to make them get
Yeah.
into a routine. Every weekend, just do a water change. Do a water change.
Yeah.
That's it. Every weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
I mean,
and
you can
can't
make
go
a
wrong.
good enough guess.
If you skip one, it doesn't really matter. But
Yeah.
you want to try and get in a habit.
I'm the same, try and do 30% a week when talking to people in the shop. And for some reason, if you just happen to miss one and you happen to do it for 30% a fortnight, you're generally going to be okay as well, which is better than none whatsoever.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Sweet as. Well, yeah. I don't know. Did we have anything else we wanted to add on the subject?
Up the wires, that's what I want to add.
Cool.
Say the opposite. That's all right.
Down the wires.
Yeah. That's the opposite. I'm also looking forward to seeing what creative labeling has been on the box that is coming to me from Cam. I'm excited for this. This is going to be.
So
be awesome.
you ordered some fish, didn't you?
He lost his female gold-head cob,
Yeah.
and I've got a female sitting here. So it's been sitting there for probably 6-8 months or something.
Yeah. So with our
Waiting
powers
to send
combined,
up.
we decided to play Captain Goldhead.
Yep.
So I've got a date to be arranged, but I'm looking forward to seeing the creative labeling on the box because it's just what we do.
I had fun for this.
Sounds good.
For people that
The,
don't want to wait, you'll be able to see it on my daily video on either TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, which is already live. So don't you go watch it, Ryan. You need the surprise.
Also,
No, because there's context. Is because Ryan sent something to Cam the other day and addressed it to David Warner.
It's not the
And-
first time I've had something addressed to
Check
David
freaking
Warner
play.
around this place.
and the
I've done
one
it a few times, I think.
the company was the only member of the Warriors Support Club. And I drew some artistic renditions on it as well. The funny thing was I addressed it incorrectly, and a little old lady from NZ Post rings me up and says, "I've got your mail here for David Warner," and it's I said, "Oh, I can't find a David Warner at that address. Is it supposed to be going somewhere else?" I said, "Oh, it's just a bit of a joke between me and some friends." She said, "I can tell from some of the art on here that it's a bit of a joke."
Fair enough.
So yeah, I was like, "Oh, little old Bessie there got a bit of a fright."
Bit awkward.
Yeah, but anyway,
But yeah. Oh,
never
sweet
grow out of
as.
that.
Yep. Well, yeah. I guess we'll leave it there then, and we'll catch you guys
Cool.
next
And what are we
week.
doing next week? Because I haven't read the schedule that apparently I've been sent.
I don't know actually.
Something to do with fish.
So,
Yeah,
cool.
there's a
Well,
good chance.
That was a
I'll
great
look it
water
up, I'll
change
read it
chat
up.
for about 10
Maybe-
minutes.
Maybe next
Wild
week
fish.
we'll cut down to 8 minutes worth of conversation, and the rest will be just us talking shit.
Yeah, sounds good. I look forward
If
to
that's
it.
what the people want, that's what people will get.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Sweet
If
as.
people tell us what they want, we'll give it to them.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right.
Thanks,
Catch
guys.
you guys later.
See you all.
See you later.
Bye.